Good morning from half of the Midnight Company. Brandon is off getting ready for the biggest production that we've ever done. So I'm just sort of taking a break from that to come do this with you guys really quick. So I apologize for the no fancy cameras, no lights, no sound, no makeup. And you're going to have to listen to me ramble because I don't have time to edit it, so I can't cut out the parts where I sound like an idiot. So hopefully you'll stick with me here because this is something I really want to talk about with you guys. Black Christmas 2019, the newest one. I love Christmas horror. I love it so much. Like, I've been watching tons of movies this month. I hope you guys have been too, and hopefully we'll get to actually do a video about them later. But I just want to start this with, I love the original Black Christmas. I love the 2006 Black Christmas, and I loved this Black Christmas. And I really wanted to start this with a little exclaimer. And I'm hoping that people are watching this, like, maybe you'll start watching it because you fucking hate the movie and you want to say something bad. But I want to take a second and just be like, let's talk this out, dudes. Like, there are a million slasher movies out there that are fucking great. I grew up with them. I love them. But they're absolutely written by men and directed by men. And they have a male gaze. And not everything in this world can be seen that way. My life experience and the person next to me's life experience is completely different. And I think, gender and race have a big part of how we see the world. And this movie is absolutely written by women and directed by women and starring women. And this movie is about what's terrifying and horrific to women. So even if you're looking at this movie and you say, well, this is like, man-hating, misandry garbage, take a second to just be like, no. This actually are the things that women fear in their minds every day when they walk down the street, or when they have to get into an Uber and the driver's being like too pushy, or, when you go on a date and it starts going bad. Like, these are things that actually happen to women that are fucking terrifying. And this movie really hits those notes. So even if it's not for you, I think it would be great if you could just watch it and be like, wow, I didn't know that my mother or sister might be feeling these things, or this may be like an amplified version of what they've experienced in life. So I promise you, if you watch it again and you try it with like that point of view, you may actually take something away from this that you weren't expecting to. So going into it, I want to talk about, this is not the original. It is not trying to be a direct remake. It's kind of like, it has the blood in its veins, but it's like the granddaughter of the original movie. And I actually think the original movie is like a pretty woke movie. Like, it had like, a main character dealing with an unwanted pregnancy and standing her ground, and a toxic masculine boyfriend who acted like a baby when he didn't get his way. But yeah, so it's not the same movie. It doesn't have the same characters, but it definitely has that sort of lifeblood to it. Something that I actually really liked is all of the main women in this movie, whether they lived or died, we learned a lot about them. We learned their backstory. We learned who they were as characters. And instead of just being like, characters in a slasher movie that are fodder for the killer, like, we actually got to know them. And, to me, it's kind of this sort of motto. It's like, if you're caring, you're scaring. So, when you see one of these girls that you've learned to really like, and like, the killer's coming for them, you're like, no, don't get her, instead of, rooting for the killer to knock them off. I loved that. I really loved that. And I loved that it incorporated like Christmas themed deaths. And I'm not going to spoil it, but you know what I'm saying? Like, when you watch a Christmas slasher and they use like, and this isn't in the movie, it's just an example, like a candy cane to kill somebody, and you're like, yay, Christmas things, and also scary things, and gore, yay. They do that a few times, and I fucking love that. So here for that all the way. The cast is amazing. I love Imogen Poots. I loved Green Room. She was fucking great in that. And I recognize some of the other girls from like TV shows that I watched. Like, I think one of the members of Star might be in it. I hope I'm getting that right. Don't quote me if I'm wrong. I loved the cinematography. I love that it was reminiscent of the original. And there's a lot of like homages to not just Black Christmas, but other horror movies that have come before it. And I think you will be super into that if you're a big horror fan. Sorry, I have like a list here in my hand. Things I wasn't like, I didn't love. I wish that it was rated R so that we could have that gore. But then part of me is like, well, maybe they did this on purpose to avoid, like, showing violence towards women, which I, as a woman, I appreciate, but also as a horror fan, I'm like, kill everybody and show me. So that's like the big thing for me that I took away from it. And I do feel like the message of the movie being as, like, straightforward and heavy-handed as it is, it's definitely going to alienate a lot of the audience, you know, like the normal demographic that's going to the movie theater. But it's also really cathartic, so take it for what you will. I fucking loved it. I went with one of my guy friends who is a horror film producer, and he loved it. So maybe that's just me not underestimating how male audiences are going to receive this. I'm not going to spoil things, but I am going to go over really quickly a lot of the themes of this movie. You have a lot, like, these are like if you look at this movie and instead of saying, these are the things, this is a story that happens and I'm following the story that happened, if you're following, like, the subtext of the movie, and overall, if you look at it, like, what does this movie actually mean? What are they saying in a grand scale of life? There's like, huge themes of rape culture and rape anxiety. And if you don't know what rape anxiety is, look it up, because it, like, a lot of men don't understand that term. And it's kind of like, you know, when you're walking down the street by yourself at night and there's someone following you, and, you know, there's nothing, like, sinister about what they're doing. They're just walking to their destination too. But you know there's a man behind you and you're a female, and your mind automatically goes to, this person is going to hurt me, and you start fucking with your keys, or, like, you know, getting on your phone or something because you're scared, even if you have no reason to be scared. It's like this anxiety of being a woman and knowing that this person might hurt you. And that's a big theme in this movie, and it's kind of interesting to see that covered, because I don't know if I ever have in a film before. There's something, I don't know if this is a real term, I made it up, called inherited patriarchy. And to me, that sort of means, like misogynistic and patriarchal views passed down from generation to generation, because, say, someone's grandfather, like, has these, you know, sort of backwards old school views of women, and he teaches them to his son, and the father teaches those to his son, and it's this sort of, like, you know, never ending cycle of, you know, like, sexism passed down through generations and is learned. And that's something that's covered in this movie, as well as toxic masculinity in a very, like, I don't want to spoil it, so I'm trying to think of how to say it. Like there is, like, an actual thing that represents toxic masculinity, and you'll see it, and after I've said that, you'll be, oh, that's what she was talking about. So yeah, it's not like a small little subtext. It's like, this is toxic masculinity, and you see it passed on through person to person, and it's interesting. It's really fucking cool. And then I wrote internalized misogyny. I have, like, my list here because I knew I couldn't edit, so I couldn't just say things. And anyway, internalized misogyny, where, like, women hate themselves or hate other women and view them as competition, because that's what the world around her has been learned, you know, like, when you watch movies and it's like women in office, like, against each other, like, and that's something else that's covered in this movie. It's not just bad men, it's women with bad learned behavior as well. And then I also wrote trauma, gaslighting, and PTSD. And there's a lot of, like, that feeling when you tell the truth about something that someone's done to you and no one fucking listens, because either they don't want to because they like the person that did it, or because they just don't want to believe you. Why would this person ever do that to you? I don't get it, you know? And maybe maybe this is a naive thought that you don't want to see bad in other people, so you just don't want to believe it. And then the last thing I wrote was PTSD, and that's a major thing. And I think myself and a lot of other women can really, really, you know, like, sympathize with that. Like, I know personally I've had, like, experiences with men that have left me in really horrible, you know, place mentally, and it doesn't take anything to trigger that, and that's really something this movie deals with. And lastly, it's not on my list, but I'm going to talk about it, is the catharsis of, like, revenge. And, like, rapey revenge movies in general aren't always like the most like feminist or woke things, but this movie takes it to a better place. And at the end, you were just like, fuck yes, bitches! Kill these motherfuckers! Kill the killer! Like, get them! And it made me feel personally like I was like rooting with them, like I was there doing that with them. And I fucking loved it. I was so fucking here for it. Yeah, I'm so trying so hard not to spoil this. I just sound like a crazy person. But I love this movie. I want it to succeed. I want these filmmakers to go on and do more shit. And I'm so stoked that Blumhouse put money behind a movie like this. And people talk about Jason Blum getting called out last year for not hiring women is like, oh, he's terrible, this was bad. And at the moment, I was like, it's the fucking greatest thing that's ever happened to women in horror. Like, he's gonna have to hire women now. And he did. He doubled the fuck down. And he put a lot of money behind women this year. And great things have come for it. And this is one of those examples. Like, I really like Black Christmas. It was such a fun movie. I hope there's an unrated version that comes out where it gets gory as fuck. So hopefully that'll be a thing that happens. I think that's pretty much all I really have to say. And it's basically like just a long-winded way of saying, go into this movie open-minded and just go along for the ride. Go buy a ticket. Even if you're not going to fucking go, just use, your A-list or whatever thing you have. Just buy a ticket and support it. So that's my preachy thing. Support indie films, support women in horror, and go watch more Christmas horror movies and watch our special December 20th. Thank you so much for watching, and make sure to subscribe and like, and please don't leave me really trolly bad comments on this. Alright, thank you.